It's 7 o'clock now. I guess you could start recording.
Okay, it's recording. Bob, if you want to open.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Lisa?
As required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on January 10th, 2020 by publication of this notice in the Star Gazette and posting of said notice in the municipal building on the same date. Mayor Barsney?
Here.
Mr. Beam? Is Paul
I
on?
see him. He's there. Paul, can you hear
Yeah, I
us?
saw him on before. Oh, hold on.
He's not muted.
Mr. Beam?
Zoom is telling him he's muted and he can't hear anything.
No, he's not. I'm not showing him as muted. It's not showing as muted. I could send you a screenshot. I mean, it's not showing as
Well,
muted.
he said he can't hear and he can't.
It's on his end.
Yeah.
Tell him to go to the website and maybe he could use the chat if he's having a problem with the video. He
Or
could
he could
dial
call
into the.
Frank,
Yeah,
you could
he-
use his phone for audio.
Yeah.
Have him use his phone. Mr. Marqueta?
Here.
Ms. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Prone? Mr. Finelli?
Here.
And Mr. Lavery?
Here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get a hold of Paul straight out. Okay, in lieu of flag salute again, I just remind everybody to keep the country and all of our citizens and in our thoughts as we go through this time and hope for the best. Also, I'd like to welcome, I think Scoutmaster Bill Lamberti is on with some of his scouts, Troop 50, tonight. They wanted to, yeah, I see his things here, so he's on. So they want to just watch to learn some things about government and try to earn some a badge, I believe, on it. So we welcome you, Mr. Lamberti, and all of the scouts. And I'm sorry you have to do it this way. It'd be much better if you can come in person. Hopefully next month, if not next, by June, we'll be in person, and you and the scouts can come down and we can actually see you in person. So, but welcome anyway.
So Bob, we have a call in, and I think Brad said he was going to call in. Brad,
Well,
is that you?
I think Paul might be trying to call in too.
Hey, this is Brad. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can't connect via the Zoom. It's blocked. I'm using my work computer, and my employer has Zoom
Oh, your
blocked.
employer blocked, yeah, because it's not okay.
It's not a secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the record, Brad Prone has joined at 7:03.
And have we heard from Paul yet?
I see he reconnected. Paul, can you hear us? Yeah, maybe Bob, you could tell Paul to, what, you there, Paul? Paul? Maybe you could text him, Bob, tell him to do what Brad did, to dial in.
I'd already told him to do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we could start while he's trying to do that. So the two meetings we had, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of March 19th and the budget meeting for March 28th. Anybody want to make a motion to accept those minutes, approve those minutes?
I'll make the
I'll
motion.
I'll second them.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, discussions on it? Roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam? We'll hold that. Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Prone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm looking for a motion to accept the treasurer's report and the April bill list. Does anybody want to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the report or the bill list?
No.
nope,
Okay. Roll call, Lisa?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam? Mr. Marqueta?
yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Prone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking for a motion to accept the tax collector's tax and sewer reports for March 2020. Anybody, I'll make the motion to accept them. Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Anybody have any questions or comments over regarding the tax and the sewer reports?
No.
Nope.
Item 4 is a consent agenda for the
Bob,
police department.
I'm just gonna do a roll call on that. Mayor Barsney?
I'm sorry, yes.
Mr. Beam? Still technical difficulties. Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Prone?
Yes.
Sorry, Bob.
Item 4, the consent agenda. Does anybody have any reason to pull the police department, public works, the clerk's report, court report? Or does anybody have any questions or want to pull anything on that before I do it?
No.
Hearing none, then I'm going to make, looking for a motion to accept 4A, the police department March report, 4B, the public works March report, 4C, the clerk's report for April, and the 4D, the court report for March of 2020. Anybody want to make a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, Liz?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam? Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mrs. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Prone?
Yes.
Under new business, there's resolutions. Did everybody have a chance to look at that list of resolutions? If I do it as a consent agenda, does anybody want any of those pulled because you have a question and we want to discuss it?
I don't know.
And hopefully everybody got it. The last minute addition was yesterday. I remembered that we needed to do a new resolution designating newspapers, going back to the Express Times, but again, at the same rate as the Star Gazette, so that's a good thing. That was
What number is
40
that, Lisa?
That's going to be 4320, so it's not on your printed agenda if you picked up
Okay.
from your mailbox.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
What are the,
so I'm looking for a motion. Sorry, somebody want to talk?
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm just,
Looking for,
That's
the,
Brad.
go ahead.
You know what? I'm gonna rename that so everybody knows it's you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad.
there was one question I had. On resolution 4120, the issuance of a duplicate tax sales certificate, do we know what's behind that one? I'm not familiar with this one.
I believe they simply misplaced it and they needed to get another one, and there's a charge for doing so, and we have to authorize it by resolution.
Okay. And then the other ones that are on the agenda is the emergency temporary budget. I mean, do we need to, is Karen on or?
No, I don't believe that she is.
I don't see Karen on, no.
And just for clarification, that was discussed at our budget meeting, the need for that, and it's basically extending our temporary budget. For whatever reason, it is named the emergency temporary budget, but it's really just furthering the annual resolution that we do to extend last year's, budget amount.
Okay. And then the last one was just the resolution to estimate tax bills. I'm trying to find that document. Do we have the summary of what that's about, just so that people can understand it?
Yeah, what
It
would
be good if
you,
we could try to find the resolution. Where is it? Estimated tax bills.
Yeah, it's 37, right?
correct.
37.
Mhm. 720.
Yeah, I was going to try to just read at least the headings so people kind of understand it, Brad, when I go through it like I normally do.
Okay.
Essentially with this
But,
one,
I mean-
Brad, I think all municipalities are essentially doing this at this point because budgets have been delayed and therefore final tax numbers can't be rectified. And so tax bills would either be late, which would cause a cash flow problem in most towns, or you have the authority by resolution to estimate them, which is what I believe all towns are doing.
Okay. So basically, if there's any kind of delay from the County Board of Taxation due to the COVID-19 and the state of emergency, that we could still send out the tax bills, which will be estimated.
Correct.
Uh,
This happened one other
They don't
time.
know what, they don't know what the state, they don't know what the state aid's gonna be or anything yet. That's why they recommended that, Brad. Because they don't, we can't really count on any state aid until they know how the state gets hit with this. So that's why they recommended that you do an estimate.
Got it.
'Cause
Okay.
we probably won't be getting budgets done until June or July.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'd like to go forward with ours and just keep going, and then at the last minute, if we have to change it, we can change it, but they're saying they don't know what state aid's gonna be, what's gonna happen with this.
Okay. So this resolution just authorizes the tax collector to do an estimation for the third quarter bills. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
For the 20. Got it. Okay. No, I'm good. Thank you.
okay. So I'm looking for a motion as a consent agenda. 5A, Resolution 3620 is a resolution approving an emergency temporary budget. Resolution 3720 is to estimate tax bills for the August, because we're not gonna be able to get out the regular tax bills because of this situation. We don't know what the state's gonna come in with. We have no idea what state aid's gonna be. We don't even know what our situation is, what our tax collections will be. So that's just so we can at least send out some type of bill with an estimate. Resolution 3820 is a resolution to request the state to immediately allocate critically needed emergency and economic funding to the county of Warren. I don't know if anyone's followed that, but the federal government, specifically really our federal representatives, Senator Booker, Senator Mendez, Malinowski, and Congressman Malinowski and Congressman Gottheimer, they failed to get any funding for 4 counties in New Jersey: Warren County, Salem, Hunter, and Sussex. Ironically, Sussex, Hunter, and Warren, all 3 of us up in Northwest Park, are not scheduled in the first phase to get any economic emergency relief. So all of the mayors in the county have got together to adopt these resolutions, to send them to the congressmen and to the senators, basically making sure we do get some coverage in the next round of stimulus. Resolution 30.
Are all those counties, I said, are all those counties Republican?
Yeah. I'm not sure about Salem, but yeah, we know obviously all 3 up here are Republican, and
So they're using politics in a time of emergency. That's really wonderful that our state representatives would do such a thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Resolution 3920 is resolution employing the governors of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, as well as the Board of Trustees of St. Luke's University Health Network and Lehigh Valley Health Network to promulgate updated protocols regarding obstetrical labor delivery and visitation. This is a result of Warren County residents, couples going in to have their children. They're not even allowing the fathers and husbands, or the fathers, I should say, and partners, to be in the room during the birth. And it only applies to New Jersey residents. If you live in Pennsylvania, the father or the father is allowed to be in doing delivery. But if you're a New Jersey resident going to the Pennsylvania hospital, the father can't be in the room. So again, the mayors have gotten together to pass this resolution to send to St. Luke's and Lehigh Valley. We're going to change this policy, which we feel discriminates against New Jersey parents and doesn't affect Pennsylvania parents at all. Resolution 4020 is a tax lien redemption. 4120 is the issuance of the duplicate tax sale certificate that Lisa just mentioned. Resolution 4220 is the cancellation of taxes for the 2020 veterans exception, which sounds the opposite of what it is. That's basically giving a benefit to the veterans and their tax bills. I know it sounds like we're taking a benefit away, but that's just the way it's worded. I think Mr. Lavery has explained this several times for us in the meetings. So we're not taking anything from veterans. We are guaranteeing it for another year. Resolution 4220 is 4320 is recognizing the official newspaper for the township as the Express Times. Anyone want to make a motion to adopt those resolutions?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
Any last minute questions, comments, or discussions before we do roll call? Okay, let's do roll call, Lisa.
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
It
Mr.
look-
Marqueta?
I still didn't get
It
on.
looks like Paul's still trying to connect. I see Paul trying to connect now. Yes for me.
Okay, Ms. McDermott
Yes.
and Mr. Perone.
Yes.
Okay.
I hear Paul. Paul, can you hear us, Paul? Paul?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
hear
There you
now.
go. Okay,
Welcome.
we have connected.
Well, unfortunately, I really can't hear anybody. I'm still working on it.
Huh.
He must have it mute. No. Yeah, we can hear him. He can't hear us. That's strange. Well, anyway, next is old business is a second reading of the ordinance 104-2020, which is really the COLA. And Brad, I think you're the one who does a good job explaining this best. You want to explain it real quick and then I'll public hearing?
Sure. We went out of order though. Did you want to do the other ones first? There was the 5I, J, and K.
Which,
There was the
I don't have
introduction
it.
ordinance. On the, there was an updated agenda that,
okay. I must have a different agenda. Which, if I missed one, what is it, Lisa? What's the number?
So what we added was the introduction of 106-2020, which is amending the sewer connection fees. This was a recommendation from,
Oh. Yeah, it's not on here, but I know what you're talking about. So you want to do that? You want to make the motion for that and explain it, Brad?
sure. So, introduction ordinance 106-2020, for amendment to the sewer connection fee. So this is, in part related to a settlement that Greenwich Township had with the Phillipsburg Sewer Authority. So there is wording to change in our ordinances so that it's consistent with the agreement as it relates to the sewer connection fees and when, basically when we would pay them the sewer connection fees.
Okay. You made the motion for the introduction too with that?
So I will, so that's an explanation. So I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 106-2020.
Okay, I'll second that. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or discussions on that?
No.
Okay, roll
Mayor
call, Lisa?
Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Perone.
Yes.
so Paul, you can hear us, I assume then, right?
I can now, yes.
Okay.
Okay, Paul, just for your benefit.
Just to
looking at the
update
agenda.
everybody, we had several last minute additions to this agenda. So the paper copy, if you're working from your paper copy that was in your mailboxes several days ago, you would be missing these last three items. 5J and 5J is related to authorizing the bids for licensed operation and maintenance of the township's wastewater collection system, and authorization for Dan Madden and Mike Finelli to prepare the necessary bid specifications. And I believe,
Yeah, as you know, the township contracts or has contracted for the last few years with Chapman, for the sewer O&M operation and maintenance for both the collection system and the pump station. Their contract runs out in June. Brent Carney, excuse me, asked for a conference call the other day with Dan Madden. Is we need to,
Marqueta,
Yes,
Ms. McDermott,
Yes.
Mr. Perone.
Yes.
I pulled up the other agenda, I realized. Last thing is I have on their Memorial Day parade, the Legion had contacted us, contacted me thinking that we had control over the parade, but I think it's their parade that they could do whatever they want, have it or not have it. They were thinking about canceling it because of the coronavirus, but then they recontacted me and said they want to wait about another week to see what happens before they cancel. So I took the liberty. I'm pretty sure everybody will agree with me. I told them we would support them whatever their decision is. If they want to have it, we'll help them have it. If they decide to cancel it, we'll accept that as their decision, and we're certainly support them in that decision. So I guess we won't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great sentiment, and I support them 100%. But I don't know that I agree with if they want to have it, that we should have it. It all depends on what the situation is at the time, I would say.
I'm sure it's going to end up being canceled, and most of those guys are up in age as well, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for them to be on. So, but they just wanted another week to think about it.
Okay.
So, but you, and then they didn't want our feedback. So what your feedback basically is that you think they should really think about whether they should do that or not?
My feedback is that the township will apprise the situation, as we get closer to the parade, and we'll see how the virus is spreading through the state, if it's still an issue at that time. I mean, I'm not gonna approve and have crowds congregating if we still have a lockdown going on,
Right. Yeah. Well, I think they're going to know. That was like Monday or Tuesday. So Monday or Tuesday, they should know what they're going to do. But I'll express that to them. Anybody else have anything else they want me to express to them?
I just think, Bob, my only comment to that is, I know the governor just extended the school, I guess no in-person school through May 15th.
Yeah.
I think he did that today, right?
Yes.
So I guess my question is, depending on where the state lets certain release of allowing, call it the non-essential stuff to start to go back to normal, how much lead time do they need to know in order to prepare the parade? I mean,
I would, because by Monday or Tuesday,
we're not going to probably have an answer.
I think they were
He's already extended it.
Waiting for what the governor did this week and for what the president recommended. I don't think they're going to have it, but I think they just wanted to wait and see. So I mean, I think they're leaning pretty strongly on not having it.
Yeah, no, my point is, like, I don't think a week from now they're going to have any new information. That's my point. Like, they're not going to know until probably the earliest is May 15th.
Right. Well, that'd be too late. They're going to have to cancel before that. So.
Yeah, and that's where I was going, because like you're not going to know until there's not going to be an answer till later in May, like middle of May. Right. So if they need to prepare now and get an answer in a week, then I think the answer is no.
Okay.
Because you're not going to know. Well, I'm just saying, like, unless they can get it organized in a week, if the governor and the president
they did send out the invitations and everything. They sent out the invitations and all that stuff before this event happened. So they did do all that work. I think they're very strongly leaning towards canceling it, but they just wanted a couple more days to think about it. And I think that was because I think they were waiting for the president to give his decision today on openings. And based on what today is, I don't think it's allowed,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
won't beat it up.
Okay, but I'll talk to them tomorrow and we're discuss it. Okay. Let me see. I got to check this agenda. Okay, then we are ready for the second reading of the ordinance 104/2020 for the COLA, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Brad, you want to explain that real quick, and maybe you want to make the motion to. Well, I have to open for public comment. So go ahead.
Sure. So it was introduced last month. This is an ordinance that is introduced annually. It's done once a year. It's an optional thing that townships, municipalities can do. And what it does is it allows to establish what they call a cap bank. So for current budget, it allows municipalities to budget in excess of the 2.5%, up to 3.5% based on appropriations. There are certain exceptions to that. It doesn't mean that municipalities is automatically going to increase budget appropriations above or up to that 3.5%. It just gives leeway. So if there are situations where there are expenditures that we need to put into the budget that are necessary for the budget year, we can go up to the 3.5%. So it's a formality to create sort of a tool, financial tool in the event that we need to put in additional appropriations for any kind of situations for that current budget year, but it doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to use it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 104, 2020 to call. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
And second, anybody?
Second.
Okay. So we're going to have to open it up, Frank, like public comments. So we're going to open it up to the public. If anybody has any questions or comments regarding this ordinance.
Yeah, if you'd like to have a question, please state your name and address.
I just need a voice vote first, if we can do an all in favor.
Oh,
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So, Bob, just to update you, it looks like a lot of people dropped off, and maybe it was because of the unfortunate hack that we had.
Yeah, I think the Scoutmaster took the scouts off because of the
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, and this is for anybody else who's on, because I was asked we should set up a waiting room and approve who joins, but I can't restrict anybody from joining. There's no question I can ask them to say you're allowed to join the meeting or not, right, Mike?
Correct.
So there's no use in having a waiting room. I can't restrict anybody anyway. Unfortunately, these hacks can happen, and we have to deal with them when they happen. So if I'm saying anything wrong, Mike, just correct me.
No, unfortunately, well, it's a public meeting and we have to keep the meeting open and allow it to open to public comment before we can close it. And then if it happens again, we could consider just, going to the phone line, but then you have to have that and you got to let people access that as well. So
It's the same thing because they didn't show anything. It was just a voice interrupt, and the same thing can happen on a conference call. So,
correct.
I mean, if we're going to meet and we're going to open it up to the public, I think we're going to have to deal with it as it comes up.
Is there anybody on in the public to comment? I mean, because we're opening it up now for the hearing. Is there anybody trying to get on to say anything that you can hear or see?
Yeah, they can unmute themselves if they want to comment.
Okay.
If you have
Anybody from
trouble
the public?
unmuting yourself, you can put something in the chat and I can unmute you. I see Robert, you're unmuted.
Yes, I'm trying to, well, I won't do the video. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you, any ideas? I'm not sure about this specific item, but any ideas to why the governor and the
Yeah,
other?
so Robert, before we answer that, can you give us your address? I think we have your name.
Yeah, 121 Kennedy Mill Road.
Thank you.
This is only regarding this ordinance, Rob, nothing else for the comment here.
Okay, that's the one. Which ordinance is about the sewage thing?
No, this is 104, 2020 about the COLA. We just explained what it was.
Oh. No, I know. I want to talk about something else.
Yeah, we'll have another chance, Robert. We'll have another open public comment.
Public comment, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
No.
I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing for ordinance 104, 2020. Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. We adopt ordinance number 104, 2020. Anybody want a second?
I'll second
I'll
it.
second.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes,
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Peron?
Yeah.
Okay. Then one quick housekeeping thing, at least under committee assignments, we just happen to notice under Frank, he lists him as representative to the liaison to the Highlands Task Force, which really is supposed to be Highlands Council. So can we change that? And also, by virtue of his appointment to the land use board, the position he holds, he's technically the liaison to the land use board, and it's not listed under his thing. So will you please change the one from Highlands Task Force to Highlands Liaison and add the land use board liaison under Frank's duties?
I will.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have anything on their old business they want to bring up or talk about?
Now, I guess we're gonna have to make a decision pretty soon about Community Day too, because,
Yeah, Frank, I was just going to bring that up.
yeah, I mean, we're, to book rides and everything, it's, I don't
Yeah,
know. Well, you're not gonna be able to, is what I'm thinking.
I don't know if, based on the phases they went through today, we're even be in phase 3 by September. You know, I'm thinking this New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area and the West Coast are going to be the last to go through these phases. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know if anybody else paid that much attention to it today.
Yeah, absolutely.
what are
we're
the
the hot
phases?
spot, so,
Well, they're long, but like the first one is a limited opening of certain things like restaurants and stuff in phase 1. And there's no dates. It's up to each area on how they're being hit and the governors in those states. So like, I see really New Jersey and the West, you know, the East Coast and the West Coast being the last to hit any phases to have basically those outdoor events, larger gatherings. Like even when the restaurants open phase 1, it's got to be limited occupancy. You got to be able to have social distancing. So like, you know, 6 feet between tables and everything. So your restaurants aren't going to be able to be at full bore right away. And phase 3 is really opening up to what they're calling our new normal. And I don't really see this part of the country and the West Coast getting there by September. We're just making it. So I think it's going to be tough to plan. Even if by then you could have Community Day, I don't think we can plan for it properly.
And I don't think people are going to want to come. We have a lot of older residents that do come out to that. I agree that this is something we might want to consider not doing this year.
Yeah, and you know what? Budget-wise, that might be an item to save money on, because I think we're going to have some budget issues too this year. I think it's pretty much evident that we're going to, and not just us, everyone.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's too early to make a decision on it yet, but I think the one decision we can make is that even if we did have it, it would be very limited. I don't think you're gonna have
Yes,
rides.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, you might be able to
Yes.
cut the budget, that you might be able to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I think we could wait a month or two and then, like you said, have it limited where at least you could, if we're allowed by then to have the gatherings where you could have some food and everything, where people could really just get out of the house by then. I mean, if we're just opening up, people may want to come just to hang out for an hour or two and talk to their neighbors and see people.
Yeah, and we could even push it to October if we had to.
Yeah. But I think what we're basically discussing, the big things like rides and stuff, I think that's out. I think
that's out, yeah.
Anybody else have any opinions on that, or?
No, I agree. I think that will be out.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? I'll make a motion. We open public comment. Anybody want to second?
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone wishing to speak, you can unmute and then give us your name and address and make your comment, please. Go ahead. Bob, if you're on, I know you're waiting.
Yeah, I am. Rob Brown, 21 Kennedy Mill Road. Any idea as to why Warren County isn't getting the aid? Or is that, or are we, or have they said anything, or is it just because we're special?
Well, this is the way it was explained to me. Initially, the aid was going out to only counties that had more than a population of 500,000 people, which would have really been about 4 or 5 counties in New Jersey would have gotten aid. But then the federal legislators from New Jersey, the congressmen and the senators, went in and argued for other counties that are under 500,000 for aid, and they got the aid for them, and they still left us out. And I think a lot of people feel it was along party lines. They they argued for and got the aid for a lot of Democrat-controlled counties and left the Republican counties out. So they're very well aware of it. They've been advised of it. And to be fair to them, they did respond a little bit, but only after they got caught a little bit and they got confronted. But they have reached out to us and they're assuring us that in the second round, we should get something. But like I said, all the mayors and the freeholders in Warren County, we've decided that we're going to do these resolutions and send them to them in mass, basically telling them, it's an election year for them too. And we're not going to forget this if they don't get any aid for us in these counties.
So we're special.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, I'll make a motion then to close public comment.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Hey, Bob, now that
Yes.
the public comments closed, I had just a question actually for Mr. Finelli. Is Mr. Finelli on?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
I thought I heard him before. Any update on the you know what I'm going to ask on the our favorite water road project?
Well, yeah, I guess there's an update. The OU2 contractors stepped away for a few weeks. That's why there's been nothing going on recently. They kind of just closed up shop in conjunction with the COVID situation. I did have an email exchange within the last couple of days asking for a schedule update, and that still included paving the roads and starting, let's say, mid-May going into early June, like mid to late May. So as far as I'm concerned, they're still forging ahead.
So did they push the paving date back, or is it still the same date as what they communicated to us last month?
I'll tell you what, Brad, I don't recall what last month's was really, if it was any different. I don't think it was really much different, so.
But there's no, I thought construction projects were still
Essential.
part of the, yeah, they're still essential.
Yep.
I know in PA it may not be the case, but
No.
all right.
No, because we're obviously in our role as engineers, we have a few services which are deemed essential, construction being one, surveying being another. So kind of tuned into what we were supposed to be doing and what not. And that clearly would qualify. So no, we're moving forward with the DOT grants as well. So no, everything's still, and it's, everything's still moving forward. Again, I'm assuming they're going to come back to finish up things shortly in advance of, obviously the paving work. They still got to do all the restoration for all the properties, but that's done by a landscape contractor, so that wouldn't affect really the paving of the road. And I see
Okay.
my picture here is frozen for whatever reason, so I guess my apologies.
That's okay.
And then, Bob, the only other thing I wanted to bring up, I should have done it under new business, was just to give an update. The pavilion, and Mike, you can add anything you want to this, but the pavilion work is from Dutchman, I believe is complete. They finished the electric work last week. I think they got their sign off. So I think they needed something from your office, Mike. But I think everything is done on the pavilion, other than the work that the DPW has to do, which is the lines for the downspout, and then the finish of the
grading
work, the dirt work, and the cleanup and grading and seating. So, but the construction part of it is done. So, Mike, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that. I just wanted to share it with everybody.
No, that's fair, accurate. There's a few little loose ends, the final items have to get wrapped up. A lot of it is actually in the DPW's lap. But otherwise, no, pavilion's just about all done.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks
It
great.
looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. I've had a lot of people make comments about it already, all favorable, obviously, too. So I think it was great work. Came out really nice.
Bob, do you want to announce about the bridge being open?
So, yeah, well, I think everybody knows by now it was in the paper, but the Route 173 bridge is finally open. We're supposed to open at 6. I think it opened like 2 days later than it was supposed to, or a week later. But I think there was a couple last-minute lawsuits and stuff that they had to get out of the way before they could open it. So, but that's all taken care of now. Also, I really wanted to thank our township employees and our volunteers through all this. Everything's been rolling pretty well. Chief Hummer's been giving me updates pretty much every day of what's going on with his department. I talked to Joe Mexi with OEM and with the fire department, DPW. Lisa and everybody upstairs has been very cooperative with alternating their hours, so no one's in the building and cross-contaminating one another. And they've all been doing it without a lot of really no complaints or anything. And everything's come together pretty well for the township. And I really would just like to note, how good the, between the police, fire, and rescue, everything's being responded to. DPW, the clerk's office, and tax and office, and everything's continuing. And I think we're accommodating citizens. I haven't gotten emails complaining or any phone calls. So I just want to thank them, and but mostly just for their attitude. I mean, we're not really just not getting a lot of complaints from them or whatever with the circumstances and the conditions. And so, I think they're doing the best we can. Brad, by the way, did you want to bring up anything about Brian? I forgot about that as I was talking. I just saw him the other day in the building. So.
Oh, yeah. So he's we sent authorization for him to take a review course. Well, it's really for the CFO exam. He's taking the CFO exam, and the stipulation is because he's a new employee that if he were to his employment with Greenwich within 12 months of completing the coursework, he would reimburse the township, and that's leave employment for any reason. So there's some final prep work he's got to do, and he sits for the exam in June. So I think it's a good thing to have. Certainly, it's needed. The CFO certification is needed for that position. I know we have Karen, but it is something that when we brought Brian on, if this was sort of a long-term vision for him getting his license and working with Greenwich. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else that they want to discuss before we adjourn?
Just to piggyback on what you said about the employees and appreciating all the work everybody's done. Just for everybody that's joined the meeting too, you're going to be seeing the township, just a little token from the township, all the appreciation to everybody that's working through this. We did order a banner, so you'll be seeing a banner going up over Greenwich Street that supports all of the essential workers, the first responders, the police, and it will be going up probably beginning of next week. So you can look for that. Just a little token, because obviously going through this time, Bob, definitely agree with you. Everybody who's working through this and putting themselves at risk, I mean, definitely appreciate it. So I know it's a little token, but I think it's nice that the town recognizes them and puts that up in support.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Hey, Bob, one last thing, if I could add to that, just kind of piggybacking there, Frank, too, is just sort of a public service announcement that I know pretty well known. A lot of the food banks are really kind of struggling right now with getting donations and getting food out to people. In some areas, it's really severe, but there's a pretty big need for the food banks even locally. So if you're not aware, there's a box at the Stewartsville Presbyterian Church at the entranceway, and they're it used to be inside the church, now it's outside the church, but they're looking for as many donations for the food bank as they can get. So as you guys go out shopping or whatever for food, if you pick up a few things and throw a bag in there for them, because it's pretty dire right now for some of the food banks. So
Bob, have we heard anything about the primaries also, how they're going to be handled?
No, I don't know. I haven't heard much on that. Mike Lavery, have you heard anything, coming down through your legal?
Yeah, they're moving them to July, just, whether it's going to be, I assume it's going to be vote by mail.
Yeah, I knew they
Oh, they are
I knew
moving.
they moved it.
Okay.
Yeah, so. You didn't know they moved them even, Frank? Because that was a couple weeks ago. So I thought we were looking for an update. I'm sorry. I could have told you that, but well, thanks, Mike.
Sure.
One other thing for Mike. So Mike, this video, we're going to try to put it up on the website, but I'm going to ask Cindy to edit it out, the comments,
Yes.
obscene comments. So should we keep an original copy somewhere? Because I don't know, I had to remove these people in case they say they were removed.
Yeah, I would just keep the original copy. Obviously, we're going to excise that so that the public can see the clean copy. And then if somebody was to ever question what was edited, at least you have the original version. So, yeah.
So Lisa, I don't know if you can make a copy on your hard drive and then send Cindy a copy and then ask her to review it and remove the obscenities from it.
Will do.
Okay.
Hey, getting back to the food bank thing, I was unaware of that. You think that's something we want to put on like a banner on our website, so if people go on, they can see that they could drop food off there, and maybe we'd have the police department put it on their Facebook page, and I don't know if the squad and the fire company would want to too. I was unaware of it, and if I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't know, but just a suggestion.
yeah,
You
no,
know?
I think that's a good idea.
I mean, there's probably
I don't
like
know the legalities. I
8 people.
I don't know the legalities associating with a specific church. I'll let Mike answer that one. I don't know.
Oh, it has nothing to do with church. It's a box in front of the church.
Well, I don't know. We'd have to say, go to this church. I'm just asking Mike. I don't.
Yeah. I guess if you listed any food banks that are in the greater Greenwich area, you'd be okay. So it's a concern, but I think you'd be all right.
Well, I don't know. No good deed goes unpunished.
I know.
Maybe we should do nothing.
I know. Listen, I hate to bring that up, but I know how the government works. So, putting out a specific church, I know could cause problems, So you recommend just putting the food bank names, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Just to remind everybody of the budget meeting on the April 25th at 9 a.m., right? That's still on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's advertised, so we better go along with it now, so. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Or otherwise, I guess I'm looking for a motion to.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Anybody want a second?
I will second.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thank
You
you.
too,
Mayor.
thank you.
Stay safe,
Have a good one.
everybody.